far and expand our reach. Through Afromedia radio and social media channels, the viewpoint here transcends the narrow constraints of traditional media. In the human story, we take sides. Leading personalities are interviewed. We conduct professional reviews and reports. The original content we produce is created and presented by international journalists. You can only watch Canadian Afromedia channels. It was and still is a very enriching experience to interact with you. All opinions are welcome, but they are not our views, and we assume no responsibility.
Thanks to everyone that is connecting to this broadcast this hour. I just want to sincerely apologize. We have to do a lot of things behind the scene before we come live. We want to make sure that our guest is well positioned. And you know, when we are having the great people like this on the spotlight, we want to make sure that everything is intact and everything is well put in place. I sincerely welcome every one of you, no matter where you are, no matter the country you reside. I greet you according to your time zone, and I greet you according to your language. Welcome to this great time on Afromedia Canada, in connection with the African Portal Radio TV International. These two media houses bringing balance to Africa, putting the people that is really matter in Africa on the spotlight, making sure that we allow Africans to tell their story by themselves and proving to the world that Africa has great people with great knowledge of what they are doing. And that is exactly what the conversation today is going to be all about. So let me quickly allow my guest to introduce himself to the listeners at home. So I sincerely welcome you to this beautiful time on the African Portal Radio TV International. It is my great pleasure to have a knowledgeable person like you on this broadcast this hour. Welcome to this great time on this broadcast.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oluson, for having me tonight on the program. And I believe it's really going to be an amazing time together. Thank you so much.
Definitely. It's overdue, and a lot of people have been waiting for it. As a matter of fact, I've got a lot of messages from a lot of people talking about it, telling me about your personality, your strength, and also talking about your credibility. And that is one of the conversations we are going to be having. But before we do that, let me allow you to introduce yourself to the listeners at home, who you are, where you are, and the position you hold in the society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oluson. My name's Oluwasomi Oyeyemi Aina, and I'm a Yoruba man. I'm a Nigerian, and I am a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur by excellence, and I've been privileged to be around for a while. I am married with a beautiful wife and 3 wonderful children. Presently reside at Pretoria in South Africa. And talking about my business, I have been within the business premises for a while. I should say now it's running to about 30 years that I've been into entrepreneuring actively and consistently. I have been able to build a business. About 3 of those successful businesses, one of which is I will be presenting tonight by the name White Island Properties, and we are branded as WIP Africa. WIP Africa. We operate from Nigeria in Lagos. We operate in South Africa, right from Pretoria, and presently also now we are operating in Gaborone. That's at Gaborone, that's Botswana, and that's the 3 countries where our presence is becoming dominant. I am also privileged to be a co-founder of WIP Africa, and also designated as the group CEO, and that's a position I've held from the inception. Like I said, White Island Properties, known as WIP Africa, is a real estate company, and we are positioned to create a beautiful environment, most to help people become rich, wealthy, and that signifies by the name wealth. Wealth. We are wealth makers. We have wealth identity. We have wealth DNA, and successfully we've been able to do that, providing houses for people, opportunities to live in beautiful environment. And in total, we've helped well over 2,000 people, yeah, across Africa to be able to achieve that dream of living in a beautiful home alongside building wonderful assets that produce them wealth. And that's, I would just like to say that in brief. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. And that's a beautiful, lovely one. I have privileged to be with you in Lagos. Sometimes I think 2018, somewhere there, and I've privileged to have one-on-one conversation with you several times. Sitting down, listening to you, you are so talented, especially when it comes to word of wisdom. And these are the things that I think that the current generation actually going to benefit from your personality and your strength as one of the do. I mean, talk and do, because that is one of the things that I love about your charisma. Talk and do, because a lot of people like to talk, but they are not actually doing what they are saying. But you do talk and you do what you say. And I love that about you. But we're going to go to the aspect of your professionalism, whereby you've invested starting from zero to something, starting from a background of nothing to become somebody, taking a project from zero to a bigger project. I mean, that is one of the things that we lack in this current generation. A lot of people have strength to start, but they cannot continue. Many people start well, but they end woefully. But you have been going strong for many, many years. For over 30 years now, you've been in this industry. And that is what we are going to be sharing. Your 30 years experience, personal experience, and in the profession that you choose. Let's talk about real estate. As you, as somebody that have clear understanding, why many people fail in this business, and what makes many people succeed in this business?
Thank you very much, Mr. Olson. That this is an interesting question, and I would like to say that when it comes to doing business, not really specifically real estate now, because I don't want to narrow this view to just the position of a real estate. I want to narrow it to make it a broader and a broader base. Now, most importantly, people they go to business just as a practice. Unfortunately, they leave behind the principle of doing business. They just go directly to practice doing business. One of the things I have been privileged as a person, and that has also accounted for consistent success. Most importantly, when it comes to doing business, it is the principle. I call it the principle of business. I call it, and it's also based on ideology. An ideology. For 30 years down the line, I believe these are the principles that I have built, that has become an asset, that has become a personal asset before a business asset. Because one of the great challenges for people that do business these days is they have not developed their personal assets. They have not developed the principle, an ideology. And I would like to say that what's an ideology? I call it the principle of, I call it the P. P represent personal ideology, personal developmental ideology. What is personal to you? That means your trade. The first thing I learned about is we have inherent assets as human beings. these assets are free. Everybody does have it. I mean, these assets, we are literally born with it. And so you may not need money for this asset. These are, I call them intangible assets. Intangible assets. I would like to say, let me start by this. I was raised in a very moderate family. I would say that we're not rich, we're not poor, but we're just very moderate. At least privileged to go to school, have a basic education, have higher secondary education, and also privileged to go to an higher tertiary institution. But if there is anything I believe I have been given were the values that were developed. Number one of those values is, I should say, is honesty. Honesty. Number two, I want to say credibility. Credibility. Number three, I want to say integrity. Now, when I talk about having personal ideology, which are principles, these are the things I call them assets. Assets. In the first place, if you are a trustworthy person, how can you develop being trustworthy and make it a principle and make it a strong ideology, not just for you, as something that you can franchise? Now, so how can you develop credibility and as an ideology and make it a franchise? How can you develop what I call integrity as an ideology and franchise it? I mean, when it comes to the point where you love to franchise, that means what I do very well is not just for me or limited to my family or limited to just my associate. How can I help people being a trustworthy person? How can I help a lot of people being credible? How can I sell my integrity? And these are the things that I believe I did quite very well. Now, sometimes in 2008, I remember I love to read a lot of books because I tell people, if you are going to lead, you are going to be a reader. If you are going to lead, you are going to read. And there's anything that I have done very well for myself, I learned to lead, and I learned to lead very well, very, very well. I am grateful that I have the privilege to be leading a wonderful business, a successful business, a big system. I should say that. And I discovered early in business that what we call systems in business, what a lot of people call system, they are personality traits of founders of business that are translated into system that they brought their personality traits into business. For example, as a leader, I am a trustworthy leader. When I set up a business, I set up a business that a lot of people can trust. I am a credible person. When I start a business, I bring credibility to the business, because when people invest with you, you manage people's money investment very well. You return the investment at the time it's meant to be returned. Those are traits of credibility. And so these are things that I believe over the years, I have had to practice over and over and over. Because some of the things that I would also like to talk about tonight is the principle, the practice, the pattern, and the product. You see, those are 4 P's. Those are 4 P's that can produce a very good ideology. And so, like what you have asked is, what exactly have we done over the years that has helped us? I believe inherently, these are abilities, these are strengths that has become our asset. I used to say, no, often and often now that I can hardly do any business that will not succeed. I can hardly do any business that will not succeed. Now, why did I'm so confident about that? It is because success is a combination of truth, a lot of truths that inherently will produce good results. That's what success is all about. That means I can combine so many things together, and there is no way it will not result into success. And also failure. Failure is a combination of many errors, inevitably, that is going to result in failing. And so over the years, I realized that a basic ingredient of knowledge is truth. One major ingredient that formed the word we call knowledge is truth. And what is truth? Is collection of what is right. That means if you combine things that are right, accumulation of learning how to do things rightly, learning how to seek for what is right, over the years, you will build a base of knowledge. And this becomes a great, amazing asset for a business owner, anybody, any form of business. So basically, at the base of what we do, these are the principles that has helped us so far. Thank you very much, Mr. Oluso.
I really enjoy the explanation. You mentioned many things that I've already jotted down, and I think I'm putting it on the commenting section as well. For those of you that you are connected to this conversation and you want to be part of this conversation, you can call +277033584. I would love to hear from those of you that you are connecting with us. I really appreciate every one of you, no matter where you are. I celebrate every one of you. Remember, when you comment on this program, you are the co-host of this program. Automatically, you become the co-host by commenting on this comment section. Please keep sending your comments. Call me on +277033584. We are having a very great conversation with this great leader of our time, a very focused leader, a visionary leader that's actually focused on how the future of the coming generation will become beautiful. This is one of the Steve Jobs of our time here in Africa. You know, there's a time that tells the story of Africa that good things can never come in Africa. But this great leader have proved them wrong by coming up with a lot of solutions to some businesses and some other things that he is doing. So with that, let me quickly divert a bit to celebrate everyone connecting to this program. Let me greet them in South Africa. Dumela, Ashe, Moloi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone in northern part of Africa and the rest part of the world. And in Jerusalem, shalom to everyone in Jerusalem. If you are in an English-speaking country, hello. If you are in French-speaking country, bonjour. In East Africa, Abarisa. If you are in afternoon, Abarisa, Muchana. To everyone, no matter where you are. In Nigeria, I greet every one of you in Nigeria, in northern part of Nigeria, in Nakwana, and also in eastern part of Nigeria, Kedu, in south part of Nigeria, which is Yoruba land. Mo kí gbogbo èyí tí gbọ́ ní gbogbo àgbáńlá yẹ kú dédé wò yẹ káàbọ̀ sórí agbami ètò yìí. Ètò bàbá ètò náà ló ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí. Mo ń ṣèbó bí àjàkàrà lóòótọ́ ọ wà lórílẹ̀-èdè Canada, à ń ṣètò lọ́wọ́ lórílẹ̀-èdè Canada, ṣùgbọ́n yìí ò ní ká má sọ ohun tá a jẹ́. Èdè wa náà ló sọ ohun tá a jẹ́. Kọ́lọ́ má jẹ́ adẹnikẹ́ni, kọ́lọ́ má jẹ́ adéyàn kéèyàn, kọ́lọ́ má jẹ́ adẹlòmíì. Àwa ní Yorùbá ni wá, Yorùbá la jẹ́, orúkọ wa ti pẹ̀ pé Yorùbá ni wá. A sì gbọ́dọ̀ gbé àṣà àti ìṣe wa náà lárugẹ. Mo kí yín onílẹ̀ Yorùbá gbogbo tí ọwọ́ jẹ́ ètò ń jáde ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá mo kí yín mo nà yín lọ́gọ̀ ẹnu. Orúkọ mi ò yí padà, èmi náà ni ọmọ yín ọ̀rẹ́ yín olólùfẹ́ yín Olúdáre Olúsọmọ Olùṣọ́ àgùntàn Samuel Olúṣẹ́gun Olùsàn. Èmi lọ pápá ọ̀pápá dábò ń tọ̀ fọmọkùnrin bọ̀ọ̀lẹ̀ ọmọ sísìn sọ̀ kárí bí kọ́lé tí ọmọ ní ọjọ́ kẹfà sí ṣerúkú lẹ́lẹ́. Tòjọ́ orí ti ẹ̀jẹ̀ láti lè yá mi dògẹ́ pa bí ẹkùn bá bà mí ò sí nílà ajá àti bá bẹ́ẹ̀ lé àdúgbò ẹ̀ràn fún mi jẹ. Ọmọ orí mo lùsì lèmi ọmọ ajífọ́ rẹ̀ ṣe tẹ̀jọ́ ọmọ ajífọ́ tiẹ̀ ṣe tí ó jẹ. Ojú òní ti wá ìbàjẹ́ òní bá wa ní rí gbé sọnù sí òṣèlú. Mo kí ní gbogbo ìlú pátápátá, mo kí yín níbẹ̀ ò dáyé níbi tí ojúmọ́ rẹ ti mọ́. Mo kí ní Ìbàdàn bí a ti fi lọ́mọ. Ìlú Ìbíkúnlé alágbàlá olókòdó kẹ̀rí lójú ogun wọn lébọ̀ lẹ́yìn Jagunlabi lára wájú Ìbàdàn mọ́jà tó fi kára wájú tó fi kó wọn lẹ́rú ọmọ agbósásá mọ́sá ọmọ yàyàyà mọ́yà Ìbàdàn ní jẹ́bẹ̀. Ẹ wo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣe àètò yìí ojú òní tì í ẹ sì ní wálẹ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè. Some people have confused, they don't know what I'm talking about, but if you confuse, you don't need to go and learn how to speak Yoruba, because this will be the general language that we'll be speaking in Africa coming soon. So watch out for it. If you want to be part of Africa, go and learn Yoruba. Thank you very much. I really celebrate every one of you connecting to this broadcast this hour. Thank you for joining us. Keep sharing it. Keep talking about it. Keep smiling. Keep staying back. Watch, like, comment. That is the code. God bless you. Engineer and one of the focus leader. I call him engineer because I have seen him starting a house from a scratch and finish it. And I told myself, no, why not? Why not? He doesn't want me to, but I said, no, he's an engineer because he supervised that project brilliantly, beautifully, and it's already out for sale. So his personality, okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I see Olaide, I know joining us. Olaide, I know you are now the co-host of this program. So keep sharing it, keep talking about it, comment, like, and invite more people to join. Thank you very much. Mr. Sanmi, I know I really appreciate your time on this broadcast this hour. Let me just make it snappy because we have a lot of things to cover. And this is not going to be the end. This is just the beginning. We are at the starting point. So I want you to relax, enjoy, having a fun. It's not going to be so much. We're going to have a fun and it's going to be a great time. And at the same time, we're going to make money out of this program. All right, let's go into the aspects of the business. You have explained what makes your company success and succeed and flourishing. But let's look at the ups and downs because in business, there's always ups and downs. Are you telling me that you've never failed before? Since when you into business and doing what you've never failed and the word failure has never existed in your dictionary?
Thank you, Mr. Luson. Now, that's a very very important question you have just asked, and I would like to answer, with a series of events, because failure is only an event. Failure is only an event, and believe me, honestly, it is how we have to define failure that actually shows either you have failed or you have not failed. Now, let me share a brief of an experience. Now, it's a practical experience. Earlier, that should be sometimes around 2009. They were just the earlier days that we have just coming into real estate. We only came in with a raw energy. Over the years, I taught people severally that one, you will not need money to start a business in any way. What you need to start a business is an asset I call an idea. An idea. You don't need money to start a business. You need this asset called idea. So we had this idea that we can provide accommodation for people. Now, this is a very interesting story that I want to share. A series of stories. Sometimes in 2006, I had just 2 years before then, I had just met this beautiful young girl, as a young man. And I fell in love with him, and I believe there's a prospect to be married. And I remembered we had for 2 years, we had a courtship, and we're preparing to settle down. And one of the assignments she gave me for a birthday specifically was for me to have a personal apartment. Now, as at this time, I actually was staying with an auntie. And so I think it's the normal thing every young man that would like to settle down to do, because that could actually define how the strength of your as a man who desires to get married. And so I put resources together. Precisely, I would say 200,000 naira. This is 2006, and that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And I actually was out to rent. We're trying to rent a 2-bedroom house. It's an apartment, beautiful, somewhere in Ilupeju Estate in Lagos. It's a lot. It's actually going to cost us 360,000 naira. And so the agent requested that we made a deposit for 200, and which I actually put resources together and I went to pay. I remember the very day I took the money, it was cash. And we were coming to the agent together, and she actually suggested that am I really sure that we can trust this agent? And for me, maybe one of the weaknesses of my strength is when I believe people, I believe people. Absolutely. And if you present yourself to me to be a trustworthy person, I accept you from the day one. And so I just decided to put aside that suggestion and say, see, this man is trustworthy. We have seen what we like. Let's go to make payment for it and prepare to have an apartment of our own. But Mr. Oluso, interestingly, we never knew it was a process that will never be actualized. We paid the 200,000, like as it is requested for our deposit, and we were given 6 weeks to finish up. It's a house under renovation, and so when we returned back after 6 weeks, the first thing we noticed, someone had moved into the apartment. No, I never believed that. I thought it was a mistake. Then I said, sorry, I paid for this apartment. Now, it's a usual occurrence in Lagos, as it were. And anyway, to cut the brief story short, 6 people paid for that same apartment. 6 people. The same agent had gone ahead to collect money from 6 different people. And it was a messy case anyway. And that was an experience that actually brought me into properties. Because the first thing I said to myself, if people go through this, that means there is a serious demerit, problem of accommodation in Lagos. So I said to myself, I am going to be an agent to solve this problem. I want to contribute my quota by providing houses for people. And that's how we came into properties. And so fast forward from 2006 to 3 years after, I had the privilege to put a team together. We were 3 of us who were directors of this company. And interestingly, maybe we then probably should be the one that is privileged to have a little. I guess I had about 50,000 naira in my account, and we're going to go for a project of direct value. It was 67 million. And I remember we went to negotiate for this parcel of land somewhere around the outskirts of Lagos, somewhere in Badagry, in Igbesa precisely. And we wanted to go into real estate, we want to do it big. And we went to the negotiation. We negotiated for the land, and we asked them, sorry, we're not going to give you anything. You'll give us 90 days. And after 90 days, we will be paying the first 10 million. 10 million. That's the first installment. Now, why did I have to say this? Because for a lot of people that never believed that without money, they cannot do big things. No. Now, this is a scenario. This is a very interesting scenario. So we brought in the lawyers, we had our agreement, and we were given an attorney, we were given a right over the land. And so we went into the market. The first thing we did was to put up a private placement. And I remember we were able to sell about 10 of these plots for families, and we raised the first 2 million naira, and we got an office, brought the system. But this is what happened, Mr. Oluso. 11 months down the line, we had made $1 million.
Wow.
This is 2009. 11 million down the line, the company already, we have generated over 153 million, which actually was a little more than $1 million in 11 months. Now, we did not start, we had a great idea. Now these are the things we're going to be discussing, because you see, there are assets that we need to develop. And I want to say humbly that the last 12 years, the revenue had gone a lot beyond that. You see, now what you say is, do we ever have problem? Beautiful question. Now, just the moment we finished the first set of this project, We delivered that project in less than 1 year. We had the certificate of occupancy. People had bought, they are building their houses, and we went for another project. Interestingly, it was a very lesser project because the first project was 123 acres of land. And so the next project we went for was just less than 40 acres. But can I tell you the truth? It's so interesting that less than 5 months into that project, we discovered that we have been swindled. Indirect assets was over 70 million. It was a woman that positioned as the owner of the land, and we had paid over the months, and we lost all the money. It was a major problem for the business. So, but this is it. You only failed when you come to a point where you believe you cannot make a difference. You only failed. What you call failure is what you defined as failure. Failure is just a word. It does not have any personality. A person is not a failure. Failure is a word. And you only become a failure when you attach yourself to failing. Because sometimes we fall on the ground, not because we do not know how to walk, because something is on the ground that we need to pick up. We need to learn. You never failed until you have defined that you failed. Now, this experience that I'm sharing with you, these are real practical experience. It was a tough one in the first place because we are custodians of people's money. I believe in credibility when it comes to business. The first thing we tell ourselves, you don't do business with us and lose your money. No. We take responsibility for every client's capital, investment in the company. Because my mentor said to me that the first law of financial freedom is learn how to manage your capital. That's the first law. And the second law to that is remember law number 1. That means very, very, very important. The people's capital are very, very important. Now, that was an experience that actually prepared us for where we are today. That is an experience that shaped everything that we have become up till date. Now, what exactly went wrong? You should ask that. Because we were confident that having done something big in the past, this is just a little project. We should be able to scale it. And unfortunately, we let down our guard for due diligence. And so it was a lesson that was learned very hard, a tough lesson. But sincerely, we have moved from that point to succeed very well because we learned that lesson very well. And I tell people there are no small businesses, there are no big businesses. We only have business. Business only become big when your inherent asset is big. Do you understand that? There are no small businesses. There are no big businesses. What is different is the asset, the intangible asset of whoever that does the business. If you bring a great mind to a business, the business becomes big. If you do business with a small mind, you will be doing business as failures. That's the truth. And so the best lessons that we learned is failure is only what we define as failing. Failure is your own definition. So over time, we have learned to define, even when we have challenges, because you never know what is possible until you have made an attempt. The only thing that we have a generation that is not ready to attempt anything. It's a fast food generation. It's a microwave generation. But believe me honestly, it is first the principle before the practice. If you cannot
Mr. Somi Aina, let me just quickly let you pause there. I want you to say that again. It's principle before what?
Before the practice. It is first the principle before the practice. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
If
Please,
you have
just pause there. That is where I'm going to take you from. That is where I'm going to take you from. Let's quickly go back to the studio in Canada. Let's hear what they have for us in the studio in Canada. But mind you, you are part of this great time as you are sharing this program and you are liking it as well. Up to you in the studio.
Show, we will have a guest from South Africa who is both an author and a speaker. The CEO of the African Portal Radio TV International based in South Africa. Further, he is also an author, motivational speaker, model, and businessman. He also studied journalism at the University of Pennsylvania. He is the founder of and member of several organizations advocating for the African state and African development.
Ready to be inspired by the amazing stories of best-selling authors and filmmakers? Afromedia offers an engaging media platform so you can begin your journey today. Explore our website now and let yourself be moved by the incredible tales of these incredible creatives.
Thank you very much, everyone connecting. I really appreciate it, and I see your comments there. Thank you so much, Mr. Iyoda Rotimi. James, thank you very much for connecting to this broadcast this hour. I really appreciate it. Keep sharing it. Keep being the part of this great time. You are the co-host of this program by commenting on this section. So you are the part of this conversation. Keep sending it. Keep sending it. Keep talking about it. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Somi, now before we have the break, you said something very interesting. There is something before something. I just want you to say the way you say it, and I want you to expand it, because the current generation doesn't know that, I love one thing that we learn when we are growing up, which is hard work. We learn hard work, but we move as we are going day by day to a generation whereby working hard is no longer the word of the day. It's working smart. So now we have to now link the two together, working smart and working hard. Because sometimes you don't need to work hard, you need to work smart. So let me quickly pick you up from there. That which you mentioned, link it with working smart and working hard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oluso. Sometimes there are so many cliches. We call them cliches, and they've been incorrectly defined. You cannot produce success without working hard. Success cannot be produced without having to work very hard. The first time I learned this, I discovered, I remember I had a mentor, who's also it's one of my most respected mentors, and in the name of Bishop David Oyedepo. And he said he works 18 hours every day. This precisely was 2009. That's 1999. I began to follow him. That's in the person of Bishop Oyedepo. And every time he says that, he mentions that, for me, it's a lot of challenge. You know why? How could someone work in a day that only comprises of 24 hours and someone works 18 hours? It was quite a puzzling for me, but somewhere along the line, in 2006, I've had to prove that. When I came into properties, I said to myself, I want to know the difference that hard work makes for the difference that hard work actually produces. And I set off myself for working for 14 hours. Every day, I work for 14 hours. I wake up 4 a.m. in the morning. I start my day 4 a.m. in the morning. And most of the time, I don't end those days until 2 a.m. the following morning. Now, this is the interesting thing. For the first time, I proved that success is actually ordinary. Success is a mathematical certainty. It's mathematical. There is no mystery about success. It's as direct and clear as in we have an addition, 2 + 2 and equals to 4. That's what success is all about. I have proved that over and over. Every day for 6 months, I was working for 14 hours. And this is what I experienced, Mr. Oluson. 6 months, we succeeded as a company. That was our experience in 2009 with the first project we did. On the 11th month, we had as a team, I and myself, my partners, I have a very wonderful partner and a famous one. Is Tadekash. Is actually very prominent on the social media. And in 11 months, we had turnover as a company over $1 million. That's when I knew the position of hard work. Now, when it comes to working smart, how do you define that? Because that is also very, very important. How can you marry smartness and hard work? Working smart and hard work. Now, that is the position of continuous development. You have to continuously learning. That is the smartness of working hard. Because this is it. Sometimes you want to do something the same way over the time, and you want a different result. No, it's never going to happen. Now, I said to someone just earlier today, I said, for every phase of growth, there is a change of role. Every time you grow, for every stage of growth in business, there is a change of role. And you see, that's a particular place that 99% of businesses, they fail. Now, you can start a business as one person. You can even start a business as a partner, as 2 people. But this is the challenge. You can never grow a business successfully as one person. At some point, you need people to help you grow a business, because you cannot grow a business just as one person. It's not possible, because it will get to a point that the task of creating opportunity in your business and maintaining the opportunity will grow beyond what one person can manage. And so this is where we make the mistake, because you become emotional, too over emotional with your business, with your work. Everybody calls you are the MD, you are the CEO, and believe me honestly, you want to be needed all the time. Now that's a very major mistake a lot of business owners, they do. You want to be there all the time. You cannot be there all the time. To grow a business, you have to step out of the business, because you will never see the opportunity to grow a business if you stay within that business 24 hours. Now, this is what happened. If you are not ready to become unnecessary as a leader, you cannot grow. You cannot grow any successful business. You cannot grow any successful investment. And so the challenge is people become over emotionalized with position. With position, you are the MD, you are the group CEO. Now I can tell you, these are just names. And so now, how do you learn to work very smart? You learn to start to build system. You learn to start to bring people that are competent, because the cost of growing a successful business need competent minds. See, you can take a very weak idea and put in the hand of an intelligent team. They will turn it to a successful, amazing, great idea. And you can take an amazing, beautiful idea and give it to a weak mind, and you get nothing. You failed outrightly. One of the areas we have succeeded very well as a company, because we have learned to build the right system. Now, we call that working smart. We have learned to poach for intelligence. Personally, I am a hunter of human intelligence. You see, when I perceive intelligence, I become uncomfortable. I want to get it at all costs. When you are good around me, I don't let you go. So I hunt for intelligence in humans. And you see, this is the aspect of being smart that had been failed to be defined properly. Not just because you want to do a business online. There are many businesses that you cannot Google. There are opportunities that are not on Google. I'm sure you know that. That's the truth. Most billionaires of our world really does not have so much time to stay on social media. That's the truth. But you see, they get people to do that on their behalf. So what exactly am I saying is you cannot take the place of working hard from growing a successful business, from growing a successful investment. And because as a leader, you have to work hard on yourself. You have to be confident. You have to develop your own personal assets. Your capacity to think have to grow. Your capacity to imagine have to grow. Your capacity for intuition has to grow. And you see, if you have to do that, you need people that will help you to do what you should be doing. And so over the years, now the smartness in success is learning to know how to do business with a system. I will give the definition of what a business is that a lot of people do not know. And a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. I would like to say that again. A business is defined as a commercial, profitable enterprise that must work without you. Now, I like to break that into components shortly. The first component is a business must be commercial. Now, you can start a business small, but don't do a small business. You know, I do a lot of trainings for young entrepreneurs, emerging entrepreneurs, because that's exactly part of what I do majorly. And we keep training our team members. We train. Now, the first thing I tell them is starting a business small does not mean you should do a small business. Personally, I'm not interested in small business. I never, if it cannot go the next 20, 30 years, I am not interested in that idea. Because what you have told me is I will have to keep coming back again to repeat the process. I don't like to do that. You see, but this is it. If you understand the component of doing a big business, that you are starting a small business does not mean it should remain a small business. So in the first place, a business must be commercial in ideology. It must be big enough. That's one, because you will need so many people to help you to grow it. Then secondly, it must be profitable because you have to do a business at a margin. You must do the business at a margin. That means it has to be profitable. The second is it must be an enterprise. You must build a business on a system. You must build a business on a system. So when you get to a bank, you will see different systems. You will see the cashiers, you will see back office, you will see accountants, you will see several people. For example, in my own system now, I have the legal system in my office, I have the accounting system in my office, I have the project system in my office, I have the marketing system in my office. Now, that's how a business becomes smart. But this is it. All of this must work without you physically. If you have to be there all the time for things to work, then you are not working smart. You can only work hard sometimes and fail to work smart. You work smart when you can engage intelligent structures in people, in resources to help you grow a good business. So that's my submission. Most of the time when people said, now you do not need to work hard, I say, yeah, you have to work hard. Can I tell you the truth? Sometimes now I work 20 hours every day. Now, I only have 4 hours of sleep most times, every day, because you have to think. That is the most tedious job a leader has to do. It is the most toughest job you can do in any business, because nobody wants to think for you. And I keep saying to people all the time, if things are not working, somebody is not thinking. If you have a business and it's not working, it is because you are not thinking enough. That is an absolute truth. If you bring sound thought to it, the business will grow. Thank you, Mr. Oluson.
Thank you very much. I'm really learning and jotting down some of the things that you are mentioning. I just want the people joining us to know that we are laying a foundation on the Pro Media Canada. This is going to continue almost every weekend. We'll be having this great leader on the African Portal Radio TV International in Victoria, South Africa. You can visit our website, www.theafricanportal.co.za. Afro Media is a partner that we are partnering together to put African content on the stage, especially to make it go viral in a country like Canada and other parts of the world. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we break the bridge that is in between the Africa and on the other country around the world. So we want to make sure that we put the right people on the spotlight for the world to see that you can do business. So for those of you that you need an expert, a real estate expert to train, a real expert, a real estate expert to also come into your project. Maybe you have a big project in Africa, or no matter where you are in Africa, we have the expert. Mr. Sanmi Aina is one of the people that we have tested. He has started a project that is going viral with a successful income. And that is the reason why we are putting him on the spotlight. So if you are in Burundi, you are in Rwanda, you are in Zimbabwe, you are in Republic of Benin, no matter where you are in Africa, there is no point of looking outside of Africa for big projects anymore. We have experts that can deal with any big project within the Africa. Let Africa support Africa. Let Africa promote Africa. Let Africa use what we have to promote ourselves. And that is why I say, hit Africa, speak Africa, wear Africa. So let us start doing that within ourselves. Mr. Sanmi now prove it to us that it's possible. They have a project in Botswana, in South Africa, in Nigeria, doing very well with a great income, and the investment is going very great. So if you want to invest as well, it's very good. He will be able to direct you on that. Those are the things we'll be having. And at the same time, by the grace of God, we are going to be having a class whereby we will be training you on how to invest, what to invest on, and how to grow your business, your investment and your business. So that will be one of the conversations we'll be having on this program. So please, I want you to please, anytime you hear that Mr. Sanmi Aina is coming to this program, connect with it, because nothing fell in his hand. And that, I'm very careful about it. I want to make sure that this becomes a success. When somebody have this ideology and mentality that nothing fails in my hand, and I'm walking into that space, I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing in that space as well doesn't fail. So with this, I just want to leave you with this tonight. Is a beginning. We still have a lot to offer you. We still have a lot of things coming up. We still have a lot of things that we are designing. And you are going to be enjoying him on the Africa Portal on an Afro Media Canada. So please, the team in the studio, I know we have a few minutes to round up this section. Join me to celebrate this great leader. Mr. Sanmi Aina, before I let you out of my way, I just want to give you 1 minute to quickly thank those being part of this program and tell them what you have in mind. Then we call it a day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oluson. It's I want to also appreciate the Afro Media for the privilege to be on here, and most importantly for the listeners that are listening tonight. I believe, just like you have said, there is gold in Africa. There is fortune at our feet. I have been to several. I've been privileged to be in the Western states, and but I can tell you, Africa is an asset. Africa is a major asset that has not been discovered yet. And most importantly, when you talk in terms of real estate, I know exactly what that means. And so I would also like to enjoin the people that are listening tonight. Please, I want you to be part of this, because this is going to be on a weekly basis. I will personally have the privilege, along with the host, Mr. Luson, to be able to take you on a journey, on a successful journey. When I mean on a successful journey, I'm talking about a journey that is predictable. You see, over time, I tell people success is predictable. It's very, very predictable. You see, it's a mathematical certainty. We tell people all the time. You see, if you know what to do, you will do what you know. Most of the time, the challenges that a lot of people have is they do not know what to do. And on the other hand, because of people's ideology, people allow failure to define them. You see, one failing experience should not define a lifetime of success. One failing experience should not define a lifetime of opportunity. So I tell people over and over, we have had several experiences. We have bought a property, paid for the property, and we were almost killed in the same property by the tenants that are in the property. Now, this is a story for another day. But you see, these are some of the things we're going to be sharing it. But this is it. Your narrative, our narrative as Africans must change. We can do successful business as African. The last 12 years, West Highland Properties Limited, as a company, we have generated consistent income, consistent turnover. You see, we have had teams, there have been people working the last 12 years. There was COVID, all through COVID, our team members were paid. You see, we're privileged to be one of those companies. We never had to turn anybody down, neither, or maybe let's cut it to 50%. We never had to do that. You know why? Because it's a system that is built on a sound ideology. We know what to do. We go to do what we know. And then I would be very privileged to take a lot of people along with me. If you think you want to learn, then there is someone who is willing to teach. I am also willing to learn, because leadership is 360 degree. As I'm teaching, I will also be learning. But believe me honestly, I will be willing to take you by hand and take you through the process. I've done it over time in South Africa. From time to time, I'll possibly maybe bringing a few of our investors, like I've shared, backstage with Mr. Aluso. I will have helped people to generate. I don't like to call figures, but big figures, and from something little, and this is what we'll be willing to share with people. We'll be willing. We'll be coming up with training opportunities. We set up, reality for spaces to train people. How do you go into property? Any space in Nigeria? People tell me, how have you been able to do property successfully in Nigeria? And the question I ask is, it is because I have successful ideology. That's the truth. If I succeed in Nigeria, I will succeed. I'm succeeding in South Africa, succeeding anywhere I go. And that is a basic principle that we work by. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Sanmi, I know it is a great pleasure having you on this conversation. It's going to continue by the grace of God, and the replay of this program is going to be on the African Portal. I just want to hand over to the team in Canada to please put the advert on as we say goodbye to everyone. Have a great night in South Africa. Have a great afternoon in Canada. God bless every one of you. Keep watching it, keep sharing it. Afro Media Canada. God bless you. The African Portal. God bless you. Bye for now.
We broadcast from Ottawa City, the capital of Canada. Together, we raise the bar and expand our reach. Through Afro Media radio and social media channels. The viewpoint here transcends the narrow constraints of traditional media. In the human story, we take sides. Leading personalities are interviewed. We conduct professional reviews and reports. The original content we produce is created and presented by international journalists. You can only watch Canadian Afro